again, one of those questions that I can't tell you how many times I've answered this. This should be another one, Adam. Timestamp it, and
Yep.
we'll put this in the knowledge base so that the next time someone asks this question, we can send them a canned response with a link to this. Okay, so let's say this is your money site, and guys, now we're instead of dealing with silo structures now, so go clear your mind, hit the reset button, because now we're going to talk about IFTTT stuff. So let's go with tier 1. Three bloggers, 3 blog accounts. I'm going to draw the 3 circles, but I'm only going to work off of one because it's the same principle for all 3, so I don't need to repeat it. So let's say that this is Blogger, Tumblr, WordPress. You guys get that. Those are the 3 blog types, okay? So let's now create a third level, which is going to be the tier 2 networks. And good enough. My circles are inconsistent. Deal with it. All right. All right. Here we go. Okay. So there's only 2 ways to set up a tiered network. There's only 2 ways to trigger it properly. Okay. It's up to you to make the decision as to how you want to do it. I'm going to tell you the best way to do it based on what we recommend as part of the training, okay? So we all know already that our RSS feed is going to go from our money site. Let me flatten all this shit. We already know that we're going to be pumping into, and I hate why it defaults to those big fat ones. Let's do that. Okay. So we already know that our RSS feed is going to hit, and let me flatten this before I get a bunch of crap. We're going to say Blogger, so we're just going to put a B, T, and WP. Okay. We all know that we're going to feed content into here. So the question arises, where do we put, as far as I know, and let me correct me if I'm not reading this right, tier 2 networks, I'm not exactly sure where to add these. Additional, okay, related content feeds. I understand that the tier 1 recipes are going to the tier 2 properties of Blogger, Tumblr, and WordPress, which then become triggers for the tier 2 networks. That's correct. That's what we've just drawn right here. Okay, so the RSS feed from our money site is going to feed Blogger, then Blogger. So if this, then that. So in that same style or same fashion, this is our money site. We're going to post a blog post. It's going to syndicate via IFTTT to Blogger. This is our tier 1. Let me do this. Let's see if I can do this. It doesn't like that. Let's try this. Okay, so that's tier 1. Hopefully that doesn't confuse you guys, but you see the connection there. Then we'll do a blue one as well for this. And flatten all that, and now we'll use an arrow again. My skills with Snagit are getting better. Here, here, and here.
You
Okay?
are almost
One of
ready
these.
to graduate to Photoshop.
No, I will never even try to use Photoshop. You can't make me. I won't do it. I've tried Photoshop so many times, and I've always walked away with a headache. I won't even try it now. Flat out won't try it. Let me clear that out real quick. Shit. Okay. So you guys see that's another Blogger. You know that this would be Tumblr and WordPress. No, sorry if that's a little bit cluttered, but you're going to have to deal with it. We don't have time. All right. Right there. Okay, so the first trigger, guys, we know goes to Blogger. And then this tier 1 Blogger is going to set up as the triggers. That's how we do it, right? Sets up as the triggers to feed the rest of the network, which includes all the other properties, Delicious, Indigo, and everything else. But you guys get that. I'm just using the 3 blogging properties for this example. All right, so the question is, where does the tier 2 related content feeds that you want to use to feed your tier 2 networks, where do you put them? Where do you feed them? Where's the trigger at? So there's only 2 locations it can possibly go. Number 1, the easy route. The easy route is to set up 4 additional RSS2 triggers to this blogger, which is your tier 1 blogger. Okay, because if your blogger, so let's type this out. T1 blogger 2. Let's say T1 blogger RSS2 tier 2 blogger. Right? Same thing with T1 blogger RSS tier 2 T2 Tumblr. Okay, let me copy this. And I know I have I have shared that graphic from the last time that I did this. Every time somebody asks this question and it still doesn't set in. I'm not picking on you, John. I just get irritated because I have to go through this so many times, and I understand I don't understand why it's so confusing, but it's okay. I'm not picking on you. I just get irritated. So bear with me. All right. This is the easy way to do it. If you were to set up, or this is the way that we tier 1 blogger RSS to, excuse me. Okay, so these recipes here. These 3 recipes right here. Excuse me. All right, you guys see that. Now, the next set of recipes would be, shit. Now, I just was talking about how good my Snagit skills were. Look what happens. Flatten all. Let's go back here. So the next one would be tier 2 blogger. T1 blogger RSS to. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I messed up, guys. Give me a second. All right. Yes. Our first tier blogger recipe goes here. Then from there, we're going to set the tier 1 RSS feed. So we're going to set up recipes at this tier 1 level. Okay. So the tier 1 workbook that you have for this entire network here. You're going to take the blogger RSS feed from this particular blogger site now, and you're going to set up triggers to, I'm sorry, in tier 2, this is getting confusing even for me to explain it to you, but the tier 2 network, I mean, when you go into the workbook for tier 2 networks, the IFTTT account, you're going to have one IFTTT account for this as a tier 2 network for this that's using this blogger as an RSS feed, right, that triggers this. So you can insert additional trigger feeds at this point here, but what happens when you do that? If you insert additional trigger points here, let's say you're using 3 additional content feeds, 3 related content feeds. Then these right here, if we flatten this, we'll say this is number 1, 1, 2, 3. Okay? So you can do that, and that makes it easy, guys, because then all you're doing is an RSS2 recipe, your standard RSS2 recipe, RSS2 blogger, like that. But you're going to have 3 additional ones. The one that you already have, which is using your money site RSS feed, right? So it would be this. It would be money site. Let's just say money site RSS2 blogger. This is the easy way to do it, but I'm going to explain why I don't like this method. Okay. The next one is going to be related. Let's say related content RSS to blogger, and it's going to be related content 1. Okay. And then the next one would be related content 2 RSS to blogger. You guys understand now? Last one is going to be, and I'm going to show you the other way too, which is it takes a little bit longer to set up, but it's the proper way to do it, which is what I showed Nick Outred. I hope I'm saying his last name right, and he's one of our members, and I showed him this exact same thing the other day. Related content 3 RSS to blogger. Okay, so now all you've done is you've got your money site RSS feed to blogger, which you're triggering your tier 1 blogger account from here, right? Same thing, you add in the additional 3 recipes, so it's related content 1 RSS to blogger. This is all in tier 1, so let me put tier 1 recipes. Why is this not the best route? Can anybody explain this to me? Does anybody want to take a shot at this? I know there's a bit of a delay, so I'll answer it for you. Let me get rid of that. Tier 1 recipes. Okay, the reason why we don't like doing this is because we even talked about this yesterday in Hump Day Hangouts, I believe it was, because these are your golden frame properties. These are extensions to your brands. So the only thing I like to post on my Tier 1 properties is my own content. I don't like posting other people's content, and aren't you, if you're doing this, aren't you feeding your Tier 1 branded blogger with other people's content? But do you understand, if you feed the additional content into this point, it's automatically going to trigger all of your Tier 2s every time this blogger posts. So you're only set up, literally, if you're using 3 additional content sources, you set up 3 additional recipes. That's it, you're done. You don't have to do anything else. You don't even have to touch your Tier 2 network stuff because it's already connected. You guys understand that? There is no work to do on your Tier 2 network if you go this route, because your 3 additional recipes, or if you're using 2 content sources, it's going to be 2 additional recipes, is triggered at the Tier 1 level. So all you need to do is set up 2 additional or 3, whatever, related content RSS to Blogger recipes, so that that every time that related content blog posts, it's going to trigger your Blogger, which your Blogger RSS feed is going to automatically trigger all these, which was set up anyways. It was already set up. Okay? But I don't like to do it that way because these are your branded Tier 1 properties, and this means you're putting other people's content, posting to your Tier 1 Blogger, Tier 1 Tumblr, and Tier 1 WordPress. I don't like to do that. You can do that. This is the easy way out. It will save you some time and some trouble, but just know that you're diluting your brand here by doing that. Okay? So the other way would be to set up at each one of these at Tier 2. So let's do this. Let's type this out. Tier 2 recipes. Let's see. The other way would be at this level, at Tier 2, guys, you would have to go in, and it's a pain in the ass, but you'd have to go in and duplicate all of the recipes from Tier 2 with a separate RSS trigger for each one. So essentially, if you've got 15 recipes in your Tier 2 network, if you've got 15 recipes set up, RSS to app.net, RSS to Blogger, RSS to Bitly, RSS to Delicious, RSS to Diigo. You guys want me to keep going, or do you get the point? RSS to Evernote. Let's keep, RSS to Drive. Okay? All of those. Let's say you have 15 recipes for your standard Tier 2 network setup, and you add 3 additional content sources. Now you're going to have, 45 additional recipes. So a total of 60 recipes in that Tier 2 IFTTT account, because you need to use, in this case, it would be, let me type this out, Tier 1 Blogger RSS to Tier 2 Blogger, right? Then you would also have related content 1 RSS to Tier 2 Blogger. Then related content 2 RSS to Tier 2 Blogger. And now just to make sure that I really drive this point home, we're going to say related, and I know I spelled one of them wrong, related content 3 RSS to Tier 2 Blogger. All right, and now, guys, you would do the same thing for Tier 1 Blogger RSS, which you'd already have this set up, but Tier 1 RSS to Tier 2 app.net. Then you'd have related content 1 RSS to Tier 2 app.net, right? Related content 2 RSS to Tier 2 app.net. Likewise through every single channel in IFTTT. So essentially, again, if you've got 15 recipes originally, and you go add 3 additional content sources, related content feeds, now you're going to add an additional 45 recipes, 15 recipes per additional feed. Does that make sense? So you either trigger it at tier 1 and go the easy way out, but then you're diluting your brand property, or you take the time and the pain that it's going to require and the monotony of setting up multiple recipes over and over and over again for this particular tier 2 network. Does that make sense? Is there any comments on that, guys, on the page? Does that make sense? So let me go ahead and just put in a couple arrows to describe the other route, which would be to do this. Let's say these are going to be fat arrows, and I don't like these fat arrows. Let's do number 2.
Well, we have a question from John, but I think you already answered it. He was asking if there will be cases of tier 1 blogger posting to tier 2 blogger, and I need to send a related RSS feed to tier 1 blogger, Tumblr, WordPress, and you just said yeah, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole point is if you want to go the easy way out, which you can do, and that's to set up. Then you only need to set up 3 recipes and you're done. If you're going to feed your tier 1 with the related content. But I don't recommend that other than just because it's easy to set up. You know, for persona stuff, guys, there's no problem. If you're setting up at like supplementary networks, for example, like persona networks that were, secondary networks that you're using for just boosting shit, which, then by all means just run it through tier 1. But for branded stuff, I don't like to do that because I don't like to dilute my branded properties with other people's content, unless it's in a curated article.
Yeah. And John, sorry Bradley, but John is also saying that his BA will do it. So yeah, guys, if you have a BA that's working for you, making networks, do that with your BA because it will take you some time to go through the entire process of, because we are not blending RSS feeds here. We are posting related content RSS feeds. So yeah, if you have BAs trained for that, go ahead and use them because that's the whole point.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a note here, and I'm going to say easy way, not recommended. Okay, and then I'm going to make sure that I say this way. Time consuming, and I'll give you guys this graphic, but recommended. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and share this shit right now. Get this taken care of. So hopefully, Adam, if you've timestamped this, like I know you did, we'll go back through and cut this portion of the webinar out, and the first part where I was even confusing myself for a minute.
Yeah,
sounds good. Make sure we delete that part. And,
I don't know. We might have to keep that one in there.
And then we'll share that as a canned response for the next time this shit comes up because it comes up all the time. And again, John, I'm not picking on you, dude. I'm so tired of answering that question. And I know that it's not clear because some people just have a hard time wrapping their head around it. But that's it. When you break it down, remember, guys, if this then that. Let me just say IF tiered network diagram. Excuse me. Remember, guys, IFTTT is very simple. It's logic. If this, then that. It's 2 steps. That's it. And the problem is so many people, again, just like what I was talking about earlier with silo structures, overcomplicate. Everybody wants to overcomplicate shit. And I am totally guilty of doing this myself. Overcomplicating shit. But when you look at IFTTT, it's 2 steps. There's a trigger, there's an action. That's it. Everything can be broken down or compartmentalized into 2-step actions. So you just have to think. It's always a linear thing. It's always linear. It's if this, then that. There's no cumulative effect there. There's no 3D or geometric, actions to it. It's literally linear. If this, then that. Right? So you just got to think about it. Where do you want to insert the content? Where do you want it to go? End up being. And that's all you have to do. When you break it down to that level, guys, it's that simple. It really is. And I know that's probably, that's one of the things is when you look at the tiered structures, they do look complex. But to be honest with you, all they are is a series of single rings. So if you always think of everything as a single IFTTT ring, there's one trigger point, and then there's the action channels, which are where you syndicate to. Everything that we do is just single rings. It's just how you assemble those single rings.